All right, the recording is going and we're ready to go. Take it away, Norman.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for joining today. I'm Norland Nelson. I'm the product manager for mainframe storage products here at CA Technologies. And I have in the room with me Russell Witt, who is the principal architect for our tape products. And what we'd like to do today is talk to you about what's new with CA1 and Vantage. Our topics for discussion today is, first I'd like to go over a little bit about just how we do development at CA for our products, and then we'll get into a short overview of what's new for Vantage. We're in the process of developing a new release, and we just announced a new release of CA1 14.0, and Russ will give you more detail about that, about what's new. And then we'll talk about a new webinar we're planning for a technical deep dive into the new features of CA1. So as we talk about new development and new releases for our products, we can't do it without the clients. In fact, Release 14 of both CA1 and Vantage is basically what the clients have told us they need in the products to make them work better, make them do their jobs easier, or just general enhancements. So we do take what you tell us very seriously in putting those into our products. And we really invite you to be verbal about the products. Tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like, tell us what you need. Because, you know, we can sit here and develop products all day, and if you don't get any customer value out of them, they're useless to both of us. So some ways in which you can get involved are, of course, in the communities, and the website is communities.ca.com. You can get in the product communities, submit your ideas, questions, if you have complaints, whatever. Use the communities, and we're in a process where we will be reviewing your input on the communities much more frequently than we have in the past. And hopefully that will be a very good vehicle for you to get information to and from us. We use the agile development process here, and that's why your customer input is so important to us. And if you want to be part of that development, if you submit a request or an idea and we decide to put it in a release, you have the option to help us implement that. And you can go to cavalidate.com when we decide to do that, and you can help us through the development process, do the testing, and tell us whether it meets your needs or not. And we really encourage customers to be involved in that process as well, because you kind of get a sneak preview of what the product is going to be and what the new release is going to have. And we have another vehicle, which are product surveys. We just sent a couple out for CA1 last year, and sorry for them being so close together, but we value your input on those as well, and it gives us an indication of more of where the market is going, where you like to see the products go, what kind of hardware and software you use in conjunction with our products, just about everything we can think of to pick your brain for how we can make our products better. And we're currently in the midst of doing a Net Promoter Score survey, and I would strongly encourage everyone on the call to go to ca.com/product feedback and take the CA1 and the Vantage survey. It only takes about 2 minutes, and it's a good way for you to tell us what you like about the product and give us input about, again, what you like and what you don't like. And at the end of the survey time, which is the end next Friday, we'll be compiling everything, what we've learned from these surveys, and we will seriously be considering that feedback for making our products better for you. So please do take the NPS survey, ca.com/product feedback. Very important to us. So like I said, we're in the process of developing a new release for Vantage 14.0. And we do the incremental release program here, and the first increment we dropped in September as the update for Database 8.3. It has a new DB2 object where you can look at DB2 table spaces, and we've updated the interface for the IBM TS7700, particularly for the BVIR. We've updated the interface and objects for the EMC VMAX, also for BMC Control M tape, and added support for the PDS version 2. The latest drop, which we did a week ago, has support for RMM virtual record specs. It allows you to limit your DB2 query so it doesn't run so long. Alert manager to be able for you to manage all your alerts from one place. Added more features and functions to the VS8800. Enabling you to do actions from the VMAX objects, and also printing the farm members on the log when it is brought up or any of the farms are changed. And stay tuned for the next drop. But what we're really doing, and it's taking quite a bit of time to do this, and we've had a lot of customer interaction and help, is we're changing or adding a new web UI. If you're familiar with the UI, the Windows client, it looks like what's on the left there, and we're changing it to what looks on the right. The object tree is still pretty much the same, so they'll still be able to navigate to the various objects in a similar way, but on the right, you're going to have basically a whiteboard or a table space where you can create your own dashboards based on whatever objects you choose. So you can still have the tabular form like you're accustomed to, or you can have graphs for specific objects. You can do delta objects on each graph. You can expand, collapse. We have a wizard that you can do your alerts with. So it's going to be quite an intuitive and modernized look and feel for Vantage 14.0. Like I said, we're in the process of developing this now. If you would like to help us and be involved in that process and tell us what you like and what you don't like, go to ca.validate.com and sign up to help us with completing Vantage 14.0. And with that being said, I want to leave enough time for Russ to talk about CA1. Ross, take it away.
All right, thank you, Nolan. All right, now CA1 just recently went to what we call a complete release. CA1 release 14.0 was also done using the agile methodology, and we had multiple drops during the initial phase of it, but it has now become a complete release. And so it is out there on the PAX file for anybody to download, and so clients can use it. High-level overview, what I'm going to discuss, these are some of the major features. We've added a ability to replicate the TMC. If you've got multiple active ZOS systems, a new status command. We did some major enhancements to the ability to subdivide the user area and store data into the user area as you see fit or as you need at your site. Some option changes we made, and then some miscellaneous changes. So the TMS replication, if you actually are going to replicate our TMC, it requires that you have more than one active ZOS system with a unique TMC. So if you do run multiple TMCs at multiple ZOS locations, you've got the ability to have a copy of the TMC replicated at the remote location. Now the replication is done on demand, but it can be refreshed using the CTS scheduling feature. Within the CTS address space, we have the ability to schedule other CTS functions, including the replication function, on a regular basis. So if you wanted to have the TMC recopied every 4 hours or every 6 hours or once a day, you could schedule that to occur. What can you do with the copy? At this time, the copy is limited for reporting purposes only, but it can also be used as input to the Vantage GMI. And I'll show you how you can use the Vantage GMI to look at that replicated copy at the other ZOS system. Okay. The status command. This one goes back to, as Nolan had indicated, what clients request. We've had lots of clients request the ability to issue a command, a display command, a status command from the console to check to see if CA1 is fully active or not. So we created or changed our TMS subsystem to be a command processor subsystem. So if you enter, with 14.0 installed, if you enter a simple command from a console or SysView or SDSF, TMS space status as the command, you will get back a TMS 0200I message saying that CA1 14.0 is active, or CA1 14.0 is batch active or inactive, or even not yet fully initialized. The not yet fully initialized will occur if you do this command after CHI-RIM has run, but before TMS init has been run. It also gives you the fact that the tape tracking and protection is active, or in the case of inactive, batch active, or not yet fully initialized, you'll get back a message saying tape tracking and protection is not active. Now, the TMS command, the only command we support at this time is status, so TMS space status. If you would like to see some other CA1 commands supported, that's where that community's website comes into play, and give us an idea, give us an innovation, give us a request to add some more command options to this. Next, major enhancement to the TMO key. One of the things that a couple of the clients that were participating in the 14.0 early release project were complaining about was the fact that they wanted to store additional fields into the TMC, but they didn't want to have to keep coding exits, in particular exit J and exit C, to store data into the user area. They wanted to see that done, but in a simplified fashion. So what we did was we came up with a predefined list of fields that could be stored into the user area at a specific offset location without having to code up the exit at all. The data, of course, is stored in character form. It can still be used in conjunction with exit J and C, but it can also be used to replace exit J and C. So the list of predefined fields, here they are. You can do it by the accounting data, which was what the original purpose for the user exit was. Optional, you can say, I want accounting subfield 2 or subfield 3 or 4 or whatever subfield you want. Or you can take the whole accounting area. You can limit it to only the accounting data from the job card or the step card. If you don't specify ACCTJ or ACCTS, and instead just say accounting, we will take the step level if it's available. If it's not available, we'll use the job level. Programmer name, and here are the other fields. SMF ID, the system name, the sysplex name, the job number, data class, storage group, user ID, security group, or even a proc step name. Any of these fields can be requested without having to code an exit, and we will go out and get that information and store it in the volume record. Oh, you went too far. Here's an example. Here's an example of what a new keyword member would look like. I'm going to display the programmer name for a length of 10. The accounting code will be displayed, and it's going to be the second accounting subparameter for a length of 3. The user ID for a length of 7, and the LPAR, the creating LPAR. So those 4 fields are going to be stored into the user area. I didn't have to code up any assembler exit, just the TMO key XX member in the PP options. What the result is when you run a job, and here's my example of what my job card looked like, the TMC record will contain the programmer name in the first 10 bytes of the programmer name, 8 bytes of information from the user, from the accounting data. And again, that was the second subparameter starting at the 3rd byte. So I just moved in the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H into the accounting field. The user ID that created this was Whitru02, that's my user ID, and the LPAR that it was created on was XE90. So that information is now stored in the TMC volume record without having to code and exit. Some other option changes that we made in 14.0. Most of you are probably familiar with the RP option, which says this is the default expiration date to use if nothing was specified in the JCL. We now have an RP GDG that will act the same as RP, but will apply only to GDGs. We had a request from a client where they wanted to have RP set to 5 days to keep the average tape 5 days, but they wanted GDGs to go under catalog control. So you could set up RP equals 5 and RP GDG equals catalog, and you would get 5 days for any non-GDGs, and you would get catalog control for any GDGs as the default expiration date. We also created an EXP Sec A and an EXP Sec V. This is the ability to control the usage of high expiration date values in the JCL through the external security system. We will do an external security call either none of the time, in warn mode only, or in add-in mode, and we will do that security call whenever the JCL specified retention period or expiration date exceeds the value you specified. So if you specify an EXP Sec V of 3,650, whenever you create a tape and the JCL has a retention period or an expiration date more than 10 years into the future, we will do a security check to make sure you're authorized to do that. If the EXP Sec V value is set to 99999, we will only do it for the use of permanent, 99365. That was the main intent. Client wanted to prevent clients from creating files where the expiration date in the JCL was 99365. Some options that we're planning to drop after 14.0. In other words, 14.0 will be the last release to support these options. The D change and the T change, a little bit obsolete, density anymore. Create, we'll always set it to alter. Key tape, you know, most people don't have key punch areas anymore. The TMS DISP optional DD name, it'll now always be TMS DISP. QSAM buff and work files, we're looking at just making the defaults be the value we use all the time and not allowing those to be customized anymore. We're trying to simplify the product, not make it more complicated. Reduction of CSA usage. Again, we, as part of 14.0, we're continually trying to become better players in the ZOS address spaces And so we have a further reduction of 40% of the CSA that we use below the line, moving more modules into eCSA. If you have any user-written code that uses the TMM date macro, you will need to reassemble it with the 14.0 macro libraries, but it will be downward compatible. So once you've reassembled it, you can continue to use it on your 12.6 systems. Also, documentation was changed in 14.0 to be in wiki format. It actually makes it very easy to search for and to pass control link from one section to another section. So when you see in the manual, refer to section such and such, instead of referring to that section, you can just link to it. We'll have a link to that section, and you can just jump to it for other information. And finally, some specific CA1 Vantage enhancements. One of the big ones was to allow you to look at another TMC from Vantage while you're still looking at your active TMC. Now that other TMC could be the copy of a TMC created for replication purposes, or it could even be an older copy of a TMC created by an IDGener or a TMS copy backup. You can use this method to access your active TMC, and it'll actually be a faster access to your active TMC than the current disk checkpoint is. This is using Vantage, something called a disk interval file instead of a disk checkpoint. It reads the TMC faster and builds that file faster. So you can have it refreshed more often, and it will be done in a much faster. It does it by running a batch job called CTS XUTIL, distributed with Vantage. And it reads the TMC very fast using sort, and then it presents the information to Vantage. It does require a Vantage PTF, RO82672, in order to use this feature. But it does read the TMC very quickly, sequentially, and builds this new disk interval file. And again, it can be used to look at the active TMC or an old copy, a backup copy, or somebody else's TMC if you've got multiple ZOS sites. To access this, you would still go to the standard CA1 object tree, but you will now see two new objects, a backup TMC volumes and a backup TMC files. It's the same as the volumes display in the files, but it's now going to be an alternate method of accessing it. It'll be a read-only access, okay? From this screen, you'll use the action to change the input TMC name. And you can enter the name of a backup TMC, a replicated TMC, or your active TMC that you want to read. And then you click on the run the disk TMS script to submit the CTSX UTIL job to create the extracts. And it'll run in just a minute or two, and you'll have a refresh display from that backup TMC, that alternate TMC, or it could be your active TMC, but it'll just be refreshed much, much quicker. As Norman had indicated, we are planning a much more technical deep dive into all of the feature functions. We've added to CA1 14.0, probably either later this month or early March. I don't think we have a specific date scheduled yet, but that will be a technical deep dive where I'll spend an hour talking about all the feature functions in much more detail that we added with 14.0. And again, I can't emphasize enough the community's website, communities.ca.com, storage, We're always looking for any feedback at all as to what you would like to see enhanced, changed, or even how do you do something. Use it for questions and answers, and you can get answers from other CA clients as well as from the technicians.
Okay, thank you, Russ. I have one question for you. We've got Chair coming up. Will you be attending?
Yes, I will. So if anybody on the call is going to be at Share in San Antonio at the end of the month, please look me up. I will be around, in particular over in the storage group, the MVS storage area.
And that concludes our webcast for today. As I said before, please take about 2 minutes and take our NPS survey at the link shown. And thank you all for attending, and I'll turn control back to our host.
All right. Thanks very much, gentlemen, and thanks to everyone who attended. We'll get the recording posted either today or tomorrow. Thanks very much, guys.
Thank you.
The leader has